child survivors of Israel's Hannibal Directive, the untold horror of Rafah. Ramallah, August 25, 2015. On the morning of August 1, 2014, Rafah's streets stirred with cautious hope. Families emerged from crowded shelters, preparing to breathe in 3 days of fragile peace promised by a 72-hour ceasefire. At 8 a.m., the truce was to begin, but peace never arrived. Instead, Rafah would witness one of the darkest episodes of the 2014 Gaza War, known by Palestinians as the Black Friday of Rafah. Within an hour of the ceasefire announcement, clashes broke out between an Israeli army reconnaissance unit and Palestinian fighters. In the chaos, Israeli soldier Lieutenant Hadar Golden was captured alive. What followed was the brutal implementation of the Hannibal Directive, a secretive Israeli military procedure that authorized overwhelming, indiscriminate firepower to prevent the capture of a soldier, even at the cost of killing him. The policy turned Rafah into a free fire zone. According to Amnesty International, an Israeli military inquiry revealed that during that single day, over 2,000 bombs, missiles, and shells were fired on the city. More than 1,000 explosive munitions rained down in the first 3 hours after Golden's capture alone. Although Israeli military authorities confirmed Golden's death by August 2nd, attacks on Rafah continued relentlessly until August 4th, 2014. By then, at least 135 Palestinians lay dead, 82 of them children. Thousands were displaced. Homes were turned to rubble. Families were shattered. No Israeli officer or soldier has ever been held accountable. This is the story of the child survivors 1 year later. The Abu Mohsen family. When the ceasefire was announced, Salah Abu Mohsen thought it safe to return home with his daughters Azil, 17, Mara, 11, and Rama, 9. But within an hour, Israeli bombardment reduced Rafah to chaos. Salah made a desperate decision to split the family in 2 groups so that not all would die together. He led Rama and Mara while Azil stayed close to a neighbor. On Salah al-Din Street, they encountered 4 Israeli tanks. As Salah tried to flee, gunfire erupted. He turned back only to see his neighbor running without Azil. Fear and firepower forced him to abandon his search. 3 days later, her body was found. A gunshot wound to the neck, shrapnel tearing her shoulder. A year on, her sister Mara recalls, "No matter what we try to forget, we always end up talking about the war. I can't forget shuddering and screaming with Rama under the staircase as bombs shook the house. Azil's bed is still empty. I see it every night." The Namla family. On August 1st, the Namla family fled their home in Rafah, seeking safety. But safety never came. A missile fired from an Israeli drone struck them in the Jneina neighborhood. Youssef, 24, his wife Walla, 23, and his sister Angam, 10, died instantly. 6 others sustained permanent wounds. Well, 25, lost his right leg. His wife Isra, 19, lost both legs. Their son Sharif, 2, lost a foot and an eye. Their daughter Abir, 1, was burned. Well, sister Shad, 9, and nephew Tsusai, 3 months, were also badly burned. Well remembers, "I was thrown to the ground by the explosion. Dust and smoke everywhere. I saw Youssef's body, his legs torn apart. My son Sharif's foot was gone, his body covered in blood." 1 year later, Shad, bearing burns on her body, mourns her sister Angam. "She was my closest friend. We always played together. Now I am alone. On Eid al-Fitr, I dreamt we were celebrating together in holiday clothes. But in reality, I sat at home alone, crying." The Nirab family. At 3 a.m. on August 2nd, an Israeli fighter jet struck the Nirab family home in Rafah's Shabura refugee camp. Bassam Nirab, 45, lost his wife Arwa, 46, and daughters Duha, 14, Ibtisam, 12, and Ola, 4. Neighbors Fathi and Abir Ida lost 3 sons, Ibrahim, 9, Ahmad, 7, and Muhammad, 5. 10 others were injured. Ibtisam's body lay under the rubble for 5 days. Her brother Ahmad, 17, reflects, "It's normal for life to collapse when you lose your mother and sisters in seconds. I had to take my Tajihi exams, but we lived in ruins. moving from house to house. My score was low. I don't know what my future will be. Ahmad and his surviving brothers now live crammed into one small room in their uncle's house. Their destroyed home still lies in rubble. The Ministry of Public Works told them they must wait their turn, or clear it at their own expense. The Abu Rijal family. On August 3rd, thousands of displaced Palestinians sought shelter in UNRWA schools. But nowhere was safe. At 10:40 a.m., an Israeli drone fired a missile just 6 meters from the Rafah boys' preparatory school, where 3,000 civilians were sheltering. 12 people were killed, including 9 children. Among them were Munir Abu Rijal, 6, and his sister Aya, 3, who were in a bathroom when shrapnel ripped through their small bodies. Their brother Haitham, 12, says, "I'm sad my younger siblings died. I love them. I know they're alive in heaven, and that I'll see them one day. At night, when the power goes out, we're still too scared to move." His 4-year-old sister Doa, Aya's twin, has wet herself every night since the bombing. Their sister Anwar, 10, suffers panic attacks at school and cannot sit still without a counselor by her side. A city in ruins, a world in silence. Between August 1st and 4th, Rafah became a graveyard for children. 82 boys and girls were killed in those 4 days. Survivors live with mutilated bodies, scars that will never heal, and memories that haunt them every night. The Hannibal Directive, a military order that authorized indiscriminate killing of civilians to prevent the capture of a soldier, violated every principle of international law. It constituted war crimes. Yet, not one Israeli official, officer, or soldier has faced justice. For children like Mara, Shad, Ahmad, and Haitham, Rafah is not just a place on the map. It is the cemetery of their siblings, the ruins of their homes, the silence of their mothers, and the endless echo of bombs. A year later, their voices remain the only testimony against a world that looked away.